The initial start of the revenue cycle is to make sure that the patient is in an appropriate status, and by doing that, that will help the revenue cycle. It's one piece out of several pieces within the facility that if one doesn't fall into place, then the others can't be done appropriately. First level review is best to take place in the emergency department because we'd like to get the status set for the patient as soon as possible. Sometimes we don't have enough documentation, sometimes we don't have enough information medically to make that determination, but if you do and you can get it done quickly, it just makes it easier for the transition through the hospital system. Critical elements to a successful first level review would be training your staff appropriately with clinical guidelines, appropriate documentation by the provider, and timing of when that clinical information is available in order to have that review performed. Training is critical for the utilization review staff to ensure that they are looking at the guidelines appropriately so that everyone looks at everything the same way. So when a UR staff member in the hospital is looking at it, it's going to be the same way that they're looking at it at a payer, the same way that the Medicare staff are going to be looking at it when they're doing any sort of audit or review. Then there's no question as to why your decision was made to make them inpatient or to make them observation. Documentation is critical from the physician standpoint or the provider standpoint in order to defend that criteria that the UR nurse is looking at. It's so important for them to kind of take out of their head what they have and why they're thinking this patient really needs to be in the hospital and putting that on a piece of paper. Timing needs to be appropriate in the documentation because the sooner you get the status appropriate for the patient, the easier it is for them to kind of go through the continuum of care and be treated appropriately. The longer you have to wait, the harder it is later on to establish that perfect status. The sooner you can get inpatient status, the easier it is. Physicians need to document in a timely manner. That needs to get on the chart in a timely manner in order for the utilization team to be able to review that against the set criteria and then make helpful recommendation to the physician as to what status the patient needs to be in. If that's wrong, then the billing can be off and it can be detrimental to how the hospital is reimbursed. For example, if a patient comes in observation status, but they really should be in inpatient status, the amount of revenue that can be billed by the facility is changed significantly to the tune of thousands of dollars. And you do that over several times incorrectly, and it can really hit the bottom line on a hospital.